Okay. So we're going to be doing a bit more reading part C today. Okay, guys, we're going to be doing comprehension. And what I'd like to do is I've got something a bit different today. I've got some vocabulary that we'll start with, and then we're going to play a game called Jeopardy. Has anyone ever heard of that? An American game called Jeopardy?
No.
No? It's a game where you have to guess the question.
I know the meaning of jeopardize. Maybe
Yeah, to jeopardize means to put into danger.
Danger, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why they use that name for the game, but they do, Jeopardy. So yeah, so for instance, if I said to you, Paris, what's the question?
With the capital,
Capital of France.
Exactly. So that's it.
Anticipation.
If I said Indian
People.
Food.
yeah, what's the question?
Is the Indian food delicious?
No, I was thinking.
Where is he from?
No, what's
Native
Paul's
people of
favorite
America.
food? What's Paul's favorite food? Indian.
Pricey.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah. Does Paul like spicy food? Yes, would be the answer to that. How about this one? Football.
Interesting
Brazil.
game. Popular.
Popular.
You're not asking me questions. You notice with the first one, I said Paris, and the question was, what is the capital of France?
What's your
My
favorite
second
hobby?
one, what's Paul's favorite hobby? There we go. Football is the answer to that question. So imagine it's going to be quite a difficult thing. We're going to have to comprehend the text well. I'm going to give you answers. You're going to give me questions. That's what we're going to do in our comprehension today. But we're going to start with some vocabulary first, guys. Okay. So write down 1 to 10. In fact, no, write down 1 to 9. 1 to 9. The 10th one is not really a word to practice the spelling of. It's a phrase. So write down 1 to 9, please, on your page. And I will give you 9 words that I found in a new reading text that I want us to practice. Okay. Is everyone ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me open it here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Here it comes. All right. Number 1. Now you have to listen closely because this is a very strange word. Okay. And I'll give you a clue. There's a hyphen in this word. Okay. It's the only help I'm going to give you. Okay. So number 1, oft cited. Number 2, exemplary. Number 3, debunk. Number 4, negate. Number 5, dignified. Number 6, hasten. Number 7, void. Number 8, compassionate. And number 9, transparent. Does anyone want me to repeat any of those?
Just the 6th one, because of that connection. Number 6.
Lost.
I'm not going to repeat any of them, guys, because they're not repeated in the exam.
But there wasn't a connection, and that's
Connection was some wrong.
We couldn't hear that.
You couldn't hear it?
Yeah, number
Yes,
6.
six.
Yes.
Strange. Okay. Hasten. These are really difficult words, by the way, guys.
Anyhow, it was difficult.
These are really difficult words, not just because of the way they sound and the way that they're spelled, but also because of the meaning. Some of the meanings are very complicated, and sometimes there are multiple meanings for some of these words. So I'll just give you another 10 seconds just to check. Okay. Okay, here we go. Here are the words for you to check. Very well done. If you're scoring 7 here, I think that's an excellent performance. 6 is also an excellent performance. Okay, so you've all had time to check. All right. Now, I'd like to say something about this. This is a text that we've recently been sent by OET. And these first 5 words, I think all 5 of those words are in the first paragraph. Okay. So is there anyone here that knows all of those words? No, probably not. These are difficult words. Okay, so I think we need to, I'm just trying to underline the importance of trying to develop your vocabulary. Obviously, come to our classes, you'll learn vocabulary here, but you need to do a lot of work outside the classroom because we're talking about comprehension. The very basic unit of comprehension is knowing what a word means. Then you've got the grammar of the sentence. Then you've got sentence on sentence, building up the meaning that way. This is the basic unit. And this is a really good way to learn it with us and to practice it, practice the spelling. But you need to do your own work as well, because we can't cover every text. We don't know what's coming in the next exam. Okay. So really a tough set of words. Okay. I'm going to ask for some volunteers. For each word, is there anyone that feels like they can help me with a word here? Anyone feel like they know what any of these words mean? Go on, Mary. Which word do you think?
I'd like to talk about transparent.
Okay, go on. Talk about transparent.
First, it's adjective. And
okay.
Yeah, first meaning it can be like transparent some materials, like we have glass or plastic.
Yeah. So you can see through the material.
Like water, transparent water.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and second opinion, it can be like in social life, for example, transparent, like politics, especially.
Yeah. Okay. Transparent financial processes.
Yeah.
Is there such a thing as a transparent financial process, Mary? I don't know these days. Okay, yeah, but you're absolutely right. So that means a sort of a lack of hiding a process. Yeah, so it's unhidden. You can see every step. Would you say politics is transparent?
Not exactly. Definitely not.
We can't be completely 100% negative about it. Some parts of politics are transparent, others are not. Okay, so none of the human body is transparent, is it?
We have this layer on our eye. It's transparent.
Yeah, I suppose that's transparent, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. Good. Okay. Fingernails. No, you can't see it through a fingernail, even if it's really thin. No.
Sometimes we can see when we push, for example, we can see it's become more red. We can see like capillaries, blood inside.
Okay, good. Well, look, that's fantastic. Transparent basically relates to, can we see through it? And I think that's really good that Mary's got both of those definitions, because you've got this very practical. This often happens. I say this a lot. There's a kind of, often with words, there's a physical meaning, and then there's an abstract meaning. For instance, look at number 10. I'll do number 10. If you take something into your own hands, for instance, this pencil, I take it into my own hands. That's physical, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's not what people mean in real life. That's not how it normally means. To take into your own hands means to take responsibility for something. You take it into your own hands. So for instance, let's just say, Hussein, if you were on a busy bus and there was a man there using bad language in front of children,
Yes.
what would you do? Would you?
Just to tell him that be quiet and do not say some bad language. It's not
But
good.
it's not your job to do that, is it? Because you're not employed by the bus company.
But I have my children with me.
Yeah.
It's bad for my children.
Yeah, you would take responsibility. You'd say, no one else is doing it, so I will take it into my own hands and I will do something about it. It's a great phrase, okay? And I think healthcare professionals are very likely to do this kind of thing. You're used to saying, okay, this needs to be done, I'm going to do it, okay? To take into your own hands, that's great. Okay, Vadim, have you got an example for me?
Yep, hello. Example of what? I'm sorry.
Do you want to give me a word and explain?
Oh, yeah, sure. For example, we can define the word negate. It is the
Negate, okay.
verb.
Yeah, okay.
And for example, as I understand, the synonyms of this word is deny,
Deny,
deny, and reject. And when we nullify or make maybe
Okay.
an infective.
Like, I'm thinking, again, I think nullify is a very good one. Nullify is very, very good. So if you negate the effects of something, okay, let's say quite often happens with medication, doesn't it? You give someone one medication and it does something really good, but it has a side effect. So you give another medication to negate the effects, don't you? Can you give me an example of that, Vadim?
What can we negate? Yep.
Yeah, so you could give a medication.
Okay, medication. I don't know.
Say, for instance, you gave someone a medication for hypertension and it lowers their blood pressure. Could it have another effect on them?
Yes, allergic reaction.
Yeah, okay. Okay, there could be an allergic reaction, but it's how about this one? How about this one? Chemotherapy. Okay, what's a common side effect of chemotherapy?
Nausea.
Nausea. So you might give something like, is it Zofran?
Yeah, antiemetic.
So that one will nullify or negate the side effect. Chemotherapy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really good example. Yeah. So I love that word nullify because null means zero. Okay. It means zul. It's like nil in English.
Prevent.
It's not the same as prevent. In this situation, it's prevent. Yeah. But what it means is that it's already happened. And then we say, no, stop that from happening. Yeah. So prevent does work in that case. Yeah. I think
this is something antidote.
An antidote negates the effect of something. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely right. An antidote. So like an anti-venom or something like that. Yeah. An antidote negates the effect of an illness or a poison or something like that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Very good.
Yeah. So Paul, negate and debunk, they're the same.
Negate and
Debunk.
no, they're not the same.
Because it's also the expose.
They're not the same. No. Okay. Let's just take negate away from the medical realm. Okay. It could be anything. It could be anything where there's effect caused by something and you do something to stop it. So for instance, maybe I'm missing a friend. I'm homesick. Okay. That's a social, emotional thing. How can I negate that? Maybe by going to watch a movie or having a nice milkshake.
Yeah, go on a walk.
Yeah, go on a walk, maybe talk to someone, maybe make friends here. It negates that feeling. So you can quite often use it in arguments as well. You know, if somebody says, this is my argument, you say, well, actually, no, this proves that that's not true. You're almost the same. You're almost negating it. And that's where it's sort of, I think, Farouk, it sort of goes into the same territory as debunk.
Yeah, debunk.
Yeah.
Because it means expose. Yeah.
It doesn't mean expose.
No,
It-
the same like exposed.
it means to prove that something is not true.
Demask, no?
Well, let's think about what we're doing. This expose and unmask. Yeah. Okay. To expose or to unmask means to uncover and show.
So yeah, to reveal, yeah.
To reveal, yeah. But when we debunk something, we're not revealing it. We're not unmasking it. We're not exposing it. We are revealing, unmasking, exposing the fact that it's not true.
Yeah.
So, for instance, does anyone remember in the UK during the pandemic, everyone started becoming very excited about 5G?
Yeah.
Did you hear those theories?
Yeah.
Everyone was saying they're putting 5G mobile phone posts and that's causing COVID. Well, it doesn't take much to debunk that theory, does it? All you need to do is you need to just say, can you prove that there's a relationship between those two things? I can prove that COVID is spread through saliva and bodily fluids. Can you prove that that mobile phone is causing COVID? Okay, so 5G theories were debunked during the COVID pandemic. Proved to be untrue. That's what it means. This expose, yeah, you are exposing something when you debunk something, but it's not, doesn't mean the same thing. For instance, I can't debunk a wound, but I can expose a wound. Okay, I can't debunk it. It's there. It's not, you don't debunk wounds, but you do expose them. So when you're exposing the fact that it's untrue if you debunk something. Okay. All right. Chamanditha, do you want to give me another word?
Yes, off-cited.
Wow, you've chosen the most difficult one, I think. Okay.
Phrasal verb.
Phrasal verb.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a phrasal verb, it's an adjective. But what do you think it means?
I think it's something someone has mentioned before.
Something
Frequent, yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's basically broken down into two things. To cite is to refer to a previously authored work. Now, I imagine that some of the people in this room have had work which has been cited before. Okay, that must be a really nice feeling when someone does it. So if you've published some research and somebody refers to it in their paper, then you cite it. Okay, that's what citing is. Okay, and I'm going to say generally in academic work, and anyone that's written any kind of academic paper will have done this. You cite it.
Yeah, Paul, often means.
Yeah, that's what it means.
And the essay, yeah.
It's a short form of often.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So if it's oft cited, it means it's a paper that people often refer to. Can we think of any? What's a really well-known medical paper that people cite a lot?
British Medical Journal.
Yeah.
Well, that's not one specific paper, though. That's a collection.
Magazine. It's a magazine.
Lancet.
Consent.
What was that one?
Consent.
Lancet.
Oh, yeah, but the Lancet.
Surgery.
No, the Lancet is also a magazine, isn't it? So yes, it is cited, but we're talking about, let's just say, Dr. And I know I'm not a doctor, guys, but Dr. Paul Craven, effects of imaging on brain tumors. Okay, just imagine I wrote that paper in 1997, and it's an amazing paper with lots of insights. And even now, nearly 20, how many years later? Nearly 30 years later, it's still the leading authority. If you wanted to write about imaging and brain tumors, then you would cite my paper. And if everyone in this room cited it, you describe my paper as oft cited. That's what it means. It's a combination. So it really means referred to. Oops. Often. That's what it means. So, or let's make it easier. Often referred to. That's what it means. Tayaba, have you got a question?
No. I don't have a question, but I want to give the meaning of exemplary.
Oh, right. Okay, go on. Give me the meaning of exemplary.
The form is adjective.
Yeah, okay, I like it. Yeah.
And basically it's used when serving as a desirable model, or I mean, very good.
Yeah.
Meaning.
Yeah, exactly. So if something is exemplary, it's a perfect model of something.
We can say role model.
Role model.
But you can't.
Ideal model.
A role model is a noun. Okay, a role model is a noun. Exemplary is how you would describe the role model. Yeah, so we can often describe behavior. You can say Paul's behavior was exemplary. So how did I behave?
Example. Ideal.
Perfect.
Very well.
Like
I was polite. I was nice. Yeah, I did everything I was supposed to.
Ideal.
I was the ideal way of doing it. Yeah. So if think about what it comes from. It's almost, it's similar to example, isn't it?
Such as.
Yes.
Yeah. So instead of example, it's a perfect example of, that's basically what it means. So you can turn this into a verb. Does anyone know what the verb would be?
Example.
Oh.
Yeah.
Exemplar.
So if something exemplifies, it provides a perfect model of. So quite often I ask you guys to give me an example of how we can do a 2-clause sentence with because. And then someone writes a sentence and I would say this exemplifies what we want. This provides a perfect model of what I'm asking you to do. Okay, to exemplify. So it's really, really good. It's a very nice word, exemplary.
Or we can use it like she was an exemplary student and always worked to the best of her abilities.
Yeah, that would be great. And by saying that someone's an exemplary student, everyone here knows what that means. She got her work done on time. She did a lot of research. She loved to read about the subject. She was well behaved. She was disciplined. Everyone knows what that means. Yeah.
So what about the exemption?
Well, that's different. To be exempt is a different word. That means that you're excluded from something. Yeah. So if let's just say you don't have to pay tax, you are tax exempt.
Yeah, so, some medication, thyroids, for example, or something. Their exemption, yeah.
Well,
okay, I'll do these other ones, guys. Okay, so dignified means to have dignity. It's adjective. It's an adjective, to be dignified. So if you have dignity, it means that you sort of, I suppose, you are respected in a way.
Yeah.
Noble.
Noble is a good one, yeah. But generally it means not behaving in a way that will receive criticism or laughter. Mm-hmm. So we all like to be dignified, don't we? You know, if you're not dignified, then you're behaving in a way that everyone will think, oh, I don't like the way I don't like that's not very dignified. It wouldn't be dignified to be shouting. Let's say, for instance, you didn't get a job and someone, I'm sorry, you haven't got the job. And you say, oh, well, that's absolutely ridiculous. That's not a dignified way to respond to that. Okay. So can you think of anyone that is dignified? Anyone that's famous for being, the Queen was quite dignified.
The King.
That's the thing. I don't think that the King is very dignified, but the Queen was. I think that's why she was loved, because she was very dignified. She didn't lose her temper. She didn't swear. She wasn't nasty to people. She was dignified. She always seemed to behave the same way. Yeah, everyone loved it. So that's dignified. Okay. Now this word, okay, I've got a phrase for you. Less haste, more speed. It's a well-known phrase in English that basically means if you rush, you go slower. Okay, Beatrice,
Be in hurry.
Yes, sir.
Does that make sense to you? If you rush, you go slower.
Yes.
Yes,
Why does it make sense to you?
because if you rush, you will use up more energy and
You will make mistakes. It's mistakes, isn't
you
it?
make mistakes and
Yeah. So basically, when you rush, you make mistakes, don't you? Which will make you slower. Oh, sorry, which will make you slower. So that's a great phrase. I think that this really responds to two parts of the OET exam. Anyone think which part of the exam do you think it would refer to?
Part A,
Reading
part A, yeah.
And writing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
So many people just jump straight into the writing. They start writing and then they have to remove this sentence or should go down here, and they don't plan at the beginning. And reading part A, for me and Alan, and I always do it. I always analyze the texts first. If you just jump into the questions, you're going to spend ages trying to find where things are. So analyzing the texts really helps. So less haste, more speed. So to hasten is a verb. It means to make faster, to hasten. Okay, so let's say, for instance, you didn't like, you're a manager and you didn't like someone in your team and you wanted them to go. How could you make them go faster? You could make them leave the organization faster.
Encourage.
Giving them all the job.
You could do bad things to them, couldn't you? You could make their chair wet. Yeah, they wouldn't like that, would they? You could put a mouse in their drawer. I'm sure after these kinds of things, they'd be thinking, I need to leave. Okay, so in that case, you would hasten their departure. Okay, what about a wound? How can you hasten the healing?
Empty, free.
Hasten the recovery. Okay, or the healing. Okay, if you leave a wound exposed, does it heal faster than if you keep it covered?
Yes.
No.
No.
Sometimes.
Now, yes.
Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, in some
Depends
cases
on
it does.
If you keep it open, it's okay.
If you keep it open here, the air can get to it. If you keep it closed, it stays moist, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
always the end.
yes,
Hasten. So that's what it means to hasten something, is to make it faster.
Like accelerate.
Accelerate, yeah, exactly the same. Make faster, accelerate, yeah. Now, void. Void,
Empty.
noun,
valid. Empty.
yeah, or it can be an adjective. Okay, so it can be invalid. Yeah, not an invalid, but invalid. So void means you can't use it anymore for the purpose you want to. Okay, just a bit of noise in the back there. I'm just going to pop on mute. Okay, so yeah, your ticket is void. You know, this example, your ticket is void. If your ticket's void, you have to buy a new ticket because you can't use it. Okay, and as a result, it's also a verb. And again, this is what I was saying earlier on about these definitions.
Emptiness.
Yeah, okay. So there's two things that you can do. One, make invalid. You can void a ticket, or empty. Can you think of a part of your body, without being too disgusting, guys, that you can void?
Bladder.
Your bladder, your bowels. Yeah, you can void them. You can void your stomach. Yeah, you can void your stomach as well. So to make empty, such as stomach, bowels, etc. Yeah, okay. But it's also a place. Okay, it's a place with nothing in it.
We have voiding studies as well as diagnostic tests. Yeah, diagnostic tests.
Can be a feeling.
Okay, but as in a place with nothing in it. At the moment, people call space a void, don't they? It's not technically a void, space, is it? Because you've got planets in there and stars and things, but it's very, very big and it's very, very empty. So they call it a void. There's no air in it. That's mainly the main reason. but there could be a void somewhere else. Okay, it's just a place with nothing in it. Okay, compassionate, positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive.
It's good.
Positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's an adjective.
Empathetic. Yeah.
It means caring, doesn't it? Caring, empathetic. Is it important for healthcare professionals to be compassionate?
It's really important. That's the important component in order to develop a rapport with the patients.
I suppose, though, if you've been through a really difficult traumatic experience, it can be difficult, can't it? Or if you're very stressed out, or if you're burnt out by the job, it can be difficult to be compassionate because it takes energy and effort. So I think that's one of the things that nurses and doctors have been worried about recently in the UK, that these kinds
something
of
like,
yeah, go on, Vadim.
it's about showing concerns for something, for someone.
Yeah, you're showing, you're saying it's not passionate. Passionate is when you've got really strong emotions and you might passionately kiss your wife on your wedding day, possibly. I'm not saying what you do and what you don't do, but compassionate is not about that. It's not about strength of feeling. It's just about being able to have the feeling for someone else. That's what it is. Caring, empathetic about others. Okay, so we'll test this vocabulary tomorrow. We'll do some questions about it, but let's go on and have a little. Let's have a little look at what I was talking about before. Okay, let me zoom in and